Welcome, everyone. This is our Mastery Empowerment course, and this is a very special episode with a true emissary of light. Patricia Diane Cota-Robles is here with us on this very sacred gateway. She is the co-founder of eraofpeace.org and a co-founder of the Congress on World Illumination. And this is a special moment in time. Hello, Patricia. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Lauren. It's wonderful to be here. I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to share this important and sacred day with you and with everybody that's tuning in with us this weekend.
Yes, and we welcome all hearts and thank each heart for sharing this bright light and for holding this light and amplifying this light for our beloved planet and all of humanity. So, Patricia, this is the Lionsgate 8/8 weekend, and it feels like the old is truly in the past. So let's hear an update from you because there's lots of area to cover today.
Yes, thank you very, very much. There's lots of area to cover. And I just want to share this is such an incredibly powerful cosmic moment. No one is hearing this information that has not been preparing for lifetimes to assist in fulfilling this facet of the divine plan. I just want to mention that the light is increasing so intensely on Earth, and it's pushing everything that conflicts with that light to the surface, which is the divine plan. Because in our earthly sojourns, we have the gift of free will and the creative faculties of thought and feeling. We're learning to become co creators with our Father, Mother, God, so we can use our life force and our thoughts and feelings any way we choose. But what we must be aware of is that we are responsible for that precious gift of life. So if we misqualify it into a gross mutation of hate or anger or prejudice or anything else that's not based in love, it's being pushed to the surface now to get our attention and to transmute it back into light. And I know that light workers have just as many diverse opinions and perceptions about what is happening in the outer world as the people who are involved in all of the misinformation, disinformation, conspiracy theories. So each of us is aligning with what we need to learn and how we're growing from that situation. But for this cosmic moment, the company of heaven is asking us to set all of that aside, to transcend all of that into our highest level of consciousness. The flame of illumined truth and divine trust is expanding within each of our heart flames so that we can hear this information that we already know within the depths of our heart and our knowing with new ears. And we can hear it with new ears and see it with new eyes as we are aligning with the facet of the divine plan that we have been training and preparing for eons of time. So I want to share just a little bit of the background about that. And I'll share with you that I have been doing this for decades, and we've been aligning with the 8/8 Lionsgate alignment and portal for decades. And never have we had the number of people communicate and connect with us that are simultaneously doing activation and activities of light all over the planet. I've received literally hundreds of sharings of activations that people are doing. They're connecting with groups, and the beings of light have said there are literally millions of people consciously participating in that this weekend. Far greater numbers on a conscious level than has ever occurred. The I am presence, the divinity within every person, is always called to participate, but often that is not on a conscious level of the person involved with their I am presence. But this time it is different. And each and every activation has a golden thread of light with a particular and specific frequency, divine momentum, and energy that they are weaving into this unfolding divine plan. And no facet of the divine plan is any more important than another. So for us to just be aware of this. And as we begin, I want to share with you also that because of this cosmic moment, the beings of light have created this magnificent amphitheater of light that is encircling the planet. And our loved ones that have crossed over to the other side, that are in the inner realms, and the evolutions of humanity in the inner realms have filled through their luminous presence this amphitheater. And there is a special place of honor for every single soul that has left the physical plane through the coronavirus, that they have created a special assistance and a facet of the divine plan through the sacrifices and the mission that they fulfilled. So they are now being honored and revered in the heavenly realms for the assistance that they have given to humanity. In addition to that, on a higher frequency and dimension, there is another amphitheater of light through which the beings of light throughout infinity have projected their luminous presence that literally extends into the heavenly realms as far as the eye can see. And all creation is focusing their light and love on this tiny little planet because of the cosmic moment unfolding this particular weekend. So let me just share with you, and this is a very, very brief thumbnail sketch of what has brought us to this particular point. We birthed the new Earth in December 21st and 22nd in 2012. That followed a 25-year concentrated shift that began with harmonic convergence in 1987. We have been integrating now the patterns of perfection, the love-based, heart-based patterns for the fifth dimensional crystalline-based new Earth for 7 years. So with the birth of this new decade, the beings of light said that we have moved into a frequency of vibration, birthing this new Earth and this new decade through an eclipse series that began on Christmas Day and was completed on the 10th of January. During that eclipse series, we birthed a new decade that the beings of light said has moved into a quantum frequency that will allow them to intervene and assist humanity in ways that have never before been attempted. Now, when they said that to us in January and we reported that, no one knew specifically what that meant or how that was going to manifest. But look at what has occurred within a matter of a couple of months after that time. And we moved into a global timeout, which every person on the planet, in one way or another, has had to adjust and change their everyday mode of operation. This has given the I am presence, the divinity within each person, an opportunity to align with them, to communicate with them, and to recalibrate the RNA and DNA solar strands of the fifth dimensional, 12 solar strands of their chakra system in their divine body template. So since that time, we have been going through various activities of light that I won't go into because of our time constraints at this moment. And we have all participated in them, but we went through the equinoxes and the shifts and all of this, bringing us up to this incredibly powerful triple eclipse series that began with a lunar eclipse on June 5th and expanded through a very powerful solar eclipse that coincided with the June solstice on the 22nd of June, 21st and 22nd of June, and was completed with the 4th of July lunar eclipse on the 4th of July. Now that brought us in, the beings of light, that the divine intent of what was unfolding during those planetary alignments with the awakening that was taking place within humanity, the shifts of consciousness, was bringing to the fore of every person in unprecedented ways that we have not experienced before, the realization of the oneness of all life. And in the outer world, this was manifesting as people opened their hearts and observed the incredible sacrifices being made by the healthcare workers, the essential workers, people that we have taken for granted, the grocery store clerks, the postal people delivering the mail, the people collecting the garbage, the people cleaning and serving us in all kinds of ways. And we became aware tangibly that they were putting their lives in danger to assist us and to serve us. And people all over the world became aware of the oneness and gratitude for the masses of humanity in ways that we have not experienced. With these open hearts, then we expanded into the whole concept of the Black Lives Matter and moving into all of the shifts that are going on, bringing to the fore that consciousness of separation and duality that has created so much pain and suffering in the world. This came to the fore in the ways of all of the shifts that are going on with poverty consciousness and with people losing their jobs and people losing their health care. All of this has created an opening within the hearts of humanity, softening the hearts that allowed the negativity to be pushed to the surface and for us to connect with the oneness and the reverence of all life in ways that we have never done before, which has allowed an incredible shift to take place in the inner realms. Now, not by chance, the last phase of that eclipse was on the 4th of July. On the 3rd of July, actually, the largest comet that has entered our space in decades made its closest passage by our sun on its journey past the Earth. Now, I know that scientists often refer and just think of comets as being dirty snowballs, but the beings of light have told us continually that comets and meteors and all of those things in the heavenly realms, that every atomic and subatomic particle and wave of life, no matter how minuscule, is intelligent and is being divinely guided in one way or another. And what occurs with the paths that are guided through comets and through meteors is that when they pass a solar system into a solar system, they actually shake the ethers and break down the crystallized matrices of obsolete patterns that no longer serve humanity in a positive way. And that shattering of those matrices makes it much easier for us to invoke the violet flame to blaze it in through around these patterns, thus transmuting our human miscreations and the gross mutations of poverty and disease and the painful things that we've miscreated, to transmute them back into light through the power of the violet flame of God's infinite perfection, which is the perfect balance of the sapphire blue flame of our Father God and the crystalline pink flame of our Mother God. So this comet began passing closest to our sun on the 3rd of July, just before the final phase of the triple eclipse series. That energy built in momentum until the initial impulse of the opening of the Lion's Gate, which occurs on the 22nd of July as we enter the sun cycle of Leo. Now, Leo represents the lion. It represents the courage of the heart. It is a full momentum that begins opening the portal of the Lion's Gate. And on the 22nd of July, this portal began opening. The comet, which interestingly, and Lauren, I do not think is an accident at all, is named Neo-Wise. And Lauren's new network is the New Earth One network. The call letters are NEO, Neo, and this is Neo-Wise, WISE. On the 23rd of July, the Neo-Wise comet passed closest to the Earth as the Lion's Gate opened, shattering the etheric matrices that no longer fulfilled the divine plan. This built in momentum until the 25th of July, which is known as the lunar calendar day out of time. Now, in the solar calendar that we go by, it's 365 and a fourth day. So every fourth year we have leap year. So on the solar calendar, February 29th is considered a day out of time to catch up with the fourth days of the previous 4 years. But in the lunar calendar, there is one day every year out of time that is more than the 28 day cycles of the moon. And that is the 25th of July. That is a time when cultures and indigenous people throughout history have released and let go of all of the past in preparation for the birth of a new beginning, which begins on July 26th. All of this occurs as the Lion's Gate is opening to greater and greater levels. Now, it moves toward expanding and expanding until it reaches the apex of August 8th. Now, 8/8 is the symbol of the Lion's Gate, and there are two magnificent lions represented through the constellation and through the alignment with the star Sirius and the pyramids in Egypt. This is a portal of light, a multi-dimensional portal of light that pulsates above Egypt, that is opened every year. And the light that normally flows through that is expanding the courage and strength within the threefold flame, the heart of every person, expanding and intensifying that courage and the divine heart flame within every person as we move into the courage of the lion. Now, as you know, a reclining figure 8 is the infinity symbol. A standing figure 8 represents the unification of heaven and earth, as above, so below. So these two magnificent lions that guard this gate represent this quantum shift of humanity and consciousness. Facing the Lion's Gate, the lion to the left represents yesterday and all of the past and frequencies of the past. The lion at the right represents tomorrow and all of the manifestations of creation for the birth of the new beginning and the new creation. And the portal that we pass through represents aligning and strengthening the heart of every person to release and let go of the old and to move forward into the creation of the new. What this time out is doing is in this process of the negativity being pushed to the surface. It is crumbling and dismantling the old order and the old consciousness of the old age. Anything that is less than the immaculate concept of the patterns of divine love for the new earth is being released and transmuted back into light. The new earth and all the patterns of perfection that are based in divine love are being greatly empowered. So, this chaos that we're experiencing in the outer world is just the fear based consciousness of souls still connected and controlled by their belief systems of wanting to hold on and not change the status quo. The fear based consciousness, just like our human ego did. This battle is an outer world demonstration of the inner battle we have between our fragmented fallen consciousness of our human ego and our I am presence. The reason it's difficult for us to really connect with our I am presence is because our ego is terrified that it is not going to exist if it lets go and is absorbed into the I am presence. And it has a legitimate fear about that because we have been working and we've been taught by the various religions for eons of time now that in order to be divine beings, we have to suppress that part of who we are. We have to do the flagellation of the flesh or the mortification of the flesh, of the ego, of suppressing. We've done extreme fasting and all different kinds of vows of poverty and vows of celibacy, things to separate and just disconnect us from our earthly bodies and from our ego. But our ego is part of who we are, and our bodies are part of who we are, just like is occurring in the outer world. And we need to love that part of us into the light. We don't destroy it. We bring it into our hearts as we would an injured child and love it until it just releases on its own to surrender into the light. All of these souls that are fighting tooth and nail to prevent them from moving forward in the light and changing the status quo, that are wanting to maintain their power and their greed and their corruption and their ability to enslave other people and to manipulate and control, all of those beings are living in this fragmented, distorted misconception of who they really are, which is their I am presence. And when they release that and move into their I am presence, and their I am presence takes full dominion, it is going to be a glorious reunion and healing between their old consciousness and the new. So, what is happening now with this Lion's Gate, we're never going to go back to the old of what is happening. We're shifting, and people saying, when are we going to get back to normal? No one knows how this is going to unfold specifically because we are co-creating it. And we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And from outer appearances, in a lot of instances, it looks like we're choosing to do it the hard way. But we have that option. But what is occurring is that we are moving up in vibration, connecting with our I am presence. So today, bringing all of that up to this moment, this is the most important thing to understand of what this cosmic activity of light is that is occurring today. We have reached a critical mass of transfiguring and comprehensive divine love on this planet through the masses of humanity that are awakening and the legions of light workers. Our light work is legion on this planet. We don't see a lot about it through the media and on the news, so it doesn't seems like everything's going wrong, but that is absolutely the furthest possible thing from the truth. What is occurring is that legions of awakening humanity, and now even masses more, recognizing and awakening to the oneness of all life, have reached a frequency of vibration that the beings of light have said is a critical mass that will now allow the I am presence of every person to integrate into their physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies at an atomic, cellular level as we move through the Lion's Gate today. Now, to recognize the magnitude of that, I want to just briefly share what the I am presence is so that we can understand what this means. Our I am presence is our divinity, and we've all called that all kinds of things. Our superconscious mind, or Christ consciousness, or a higher power, or the divinity within, all different kinds of consciousness. But the beings of light want us to realize that this is the part of us that is created in God's image. Excuse me. So let me just very briefly say this to you. You absolutely know this through your I am presence. But when we are breathed forth from the heart of God as sons and daughters of God, our first expansion is a magnificent sun that represents the omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent Father, Mother, God, the cosmic all that is. And within that magnificent sun, which is known as a white fire being, pulsates our immortal, victorious threefold flame within the center. This is the representative of the Holy Trinity of life. It consists of the blue flame of our Father God's divine power, the pink flame of our Mother God's divine love, and the yellow gold flame of enlightenment, reflecting the consciousness, Christ consciousness of the sons and daughters of God, which we were invested with in the beginning. Then the next step is manifesting within this white fire being are two luminous presences that are known as our I am presence. One is a masculine I am presence, and one is a feminine I am presence. These two beings are referred to as twin flames. And I know some of you are very familiar with that. This may be a new concept, but these are two reflections of the all-encompassing white fire being. Each of our I am presences goes through our earthly experiences separately. And we're going to follow just one of them at this time. I know, want to clear just one thing very quickly. Very often when people think about twin flames, they think of it as their other half of who they are. And they say that not being aligned with your twin flame, whether in a romantic relationship or connected with them in the physical plane, it's like trying to fly with one wing. So people have spent their lives looking for their twin flame. And that is not the way our twin flames work. In the higher realm, our I am presences, our twin flames and ours, are totally connected, and we can connect with them with a single thought, no matter where we are or what we're doing. The most common thing is for one I am presence to remain in the inner realms while the other one is embodied, so that they can assist and balance and guide from the inner realms. If they do happen to come into embodiment at the same time, very often they have entirely different lifetimes that would never be appropriate for them to be connected in a romantic relationship. Your divine complement might be your mother in one lifetime, or a little girl in Ethiopia on the other side of the world that you'll never see in this lifetime. Rarely, but sometimes you will come together as a couple in a romantic relationship. And if that is the case, It will happen naturally through absolutely no outer world seeking or effort on your own. So now let's follow this, because this is what we're talking about returning to the integration of our I am presence. The next step of our earthly embodiment is that our I am presence steps down in frequency of vibration into the fifth dimension. And in the fifth dimension, our I am presence has 12 solar chakras, and each of those chakras reverberates with all 12 solar aspects of deity, which are the crystalline frequencies of light from the Father, Mother, God. There's a solar aspect of deity associated with each of our 12 sun cycles, and it's the crystalline light. And just very briefly, the first solar aspect of deity is sapphire blue ray of God's will, illumined faith, power, and protection. The second is the yellow gold ray of enlightenment and Christ consciousness. The third is the crystalline pink ray of transfiguring and comprehensive divine love and oneness. The fourth is the crystalline white ray of purity, resurrection, ascension, and the immaculate concept. The fifth is the emerald green ray of illumined truth and healing. The sixth is the ruby gold ray of ministering grace and devotional worship and healing and another frequency of peace. The seventh is the violet flame of God's infinite perfection, mercy, compassion, forgiveness, liberty, justice, freedom, and victory, and a new momentum of divine glory. The importance of this seventh ray for us to understand is that it is the frequency. This is why the violet flame is coming to the fore so powerfully now. It is the frequency, the most prominent frequency of the 12 solar aspects of deity that will bathe the earth through the entire cycle of the age of Aquarius. So this violet flame is a critical factor in all the transformation. The eighth solar aspect of deity is the aquamarine ray of clarity, discernment, and understanding. The ninth is the magenta ray of harmony and balance. The 10th is the golden ray of eternal peace and God's infinite abundance. The 11th is the peach flame of divine purpose, enthusiasm, and joy. And the 12th is the opal ray of transformation and transfiguration. So all 12 of those rays radiate through all 12 chakras simultaneously as the circle of the sacred 12 in our I am presence. This is considered our fifth dimensional crystalline solar spine. So for our earthly embodiment, our I am presence has never descended in frequency below the fifth dimension. So to embody in a third dimensional earth, first our I am presence projected a step down reflection into the fourth dimension, which is known as our solar Christ presence. And that also has 12 chakras, but that's a denser frequency. So each of those chakras reverberates with one of the 12 solar aspects of deity. And you don't need to worry about that because we're going to move past that. I just want you to understand that. You then go into the third dimension, our solar Christ presence steps down into a denser frequency, our third dimensional planetary Christ presence. Now that light, that solar light from the fourth dimensional solar Christ presence goes through the prism into a physical third dimensional reality, which is just like putting a ray of sunlight through a prism. And on the other side, you get the sevenfold pigment octave of color, which reflects through the spectrum of the rainbow. This is why in our earthly bodies and our third dimensional bodies, through our planetary Christ presence, we had 7 chakras reflecting the frequencies of the rainbow. Since the initiation of harmonic convergence, We've gone through major shifts and transformations to bring us to a frequency that would allow us to birth the new earth in 2012 through the solstice of December 21st and 22nd. And the first ascension brought the planetary Christ presence into harmony and alignment with the solar Christ presence, the fourth dimensional solar Christ presence. And then to prepare for the birth of the new earth, the solar Christ presence ascended into the initial impulse of the I am presence and the initial activation of our fifth dimensional crystalline solar spine. And the beings of light told us at that time, we don't need to worry about the planetary Christ presence and the seven chakras the way we have in the past. We don't need to worry about the fourth dimensional and the different colors and the different chakras. Now we are totally aligned with our fifth dimensional crystalline solar chakras of our I am presence. But just a minuscule frequency of that light with our I am presence has been able to radiate through us. So through the past 7 years and the myriad activities of light and shifts of vibration, every person's I am presence has been radiating the maximum of the 12 solar aspects of deity through their fifth dimensional spinal columns so that the I am presence can integrate at a cellular level, because the I am presence can't integrate into a fourth dimensional frequency. We have to be vibrating at that highest possible frequency. So there has been myriad activities of light working through that. With the incredible quantum shifts that have taken place since the birth of this new decade, the beings of light said we have reached a critical mass that will allow us now to ascend this sacred and holy weekend through the Lion's Gate. And the Lion's Gate is also multidimensional into an entirely new dimensional frequency of the Lion's Gate. And the old gate is going to be permanently transmuted, and from now on will be radiating through this. In order to do this and to reach this higher frequency that's activating and expanding the divinity within every person, our I am presence has to integrate at a cellular level. So that's what's going to occur today, and we're going to do that through a meditation. But I just want to explain to you what a critical mass is, and according to the beings of light, because looking at outer appearances, it certainly doesn't look like there's a critical mass of divine love, but there is infinite light, and light is infinitely more powerful than the fragmented, fear-based miscreations and gross mutations that are being pushed to the surface. The beings of light said we're dealing with the laws of physics. So for us to experience a critical mass, for us to recognize that when scientists are observing electrons and they're raising in vibration, the moment the electron reaches the higher vibration, the critical mass, it accelerates and absorbs the remainder of the electron, and it disappears here and reappears in the higher frequency. That's exactly how we ascended from the fourth dimension into the initial impulses of the fifth dimension to birth the new earth in December 28th, 1st and 2nd in 2012. So they said the critical mass, it's very complex and all kinds of variables that determine when something reaches a critical mass. But they said, just for our understanding, to think of it as 51%. So when 51% of the energy, vibration, and consciousness of the masses of humanity reaches a quantum frequency of transfiguring divine and comprehensive divine love, then it will absorb the other 49%, and we will take that quantum instantaneous shift into the new and higher frequency up the spiral of evolution. And we're not talking about 51% of the people on the planet. Remember that for every negative thought and feeling, that there is this discordant and fragmented, confused energy, that light is infinitely more powerful than that. And one person anchoring the light effectively can literally transmute the discordant mutations of hundreds of thousands of people on this planet. So, with the shifts that have taken place this year, we have now reached a critical mass of transfiguring divine love and comprehensive divine love that is being greatly expanded through the Lion's Gate this weekend. And that's been building in momentum since the 22nd of July, with all of the shattering of the obsolete patterns by the Neowise comet. We have been shifting in vibration to a point now where we are at a place in this activity of light as we move through the gate. Normally, what's happening in the Lion's Gate is this portal of light is flooding the earth through the heart flames of awakening humanity. This is the opposite of that. This is the earth and humanity ascending through the Lion's Gate, being inbreathed into a new, higher dimensional frequency of the Lion's Gate than we have ever been able to experience. And the old gate is being closed and sealed and transmuted into light for its magnificent divine service to humanity, so that we will never again sink back into those old frequencies and those miscreations. So the activity of light that the beings of light are asking us to do today is, first, we're going to have an activity of preparation. And Lauren has made these available as handouts so that you can print them out and go over them anytime during this weekend. But the first is activating the core of purity within every atomic and subatomic particle of life, and transmuting all of the shattered, dismantled frequencies of the old earth that have been now made clear. And the beings of light described what the comet Neowise has done is that when we have a solid log that we're blazing the flame through, burning it, transmuting it, it burns very slowly. But if we have a pile of wood chips, this blazes in through and around and almost instantaneously consumes and transmutes into a higher frequency the wood chips. And that's exactly what's happening today. So our activity of light is going to be, first, the activation of the purification through the electrons. When that is complete, the beings of light said all will be in readiness, and we, all of us consciously participating, Mother Earth, humanity, the elemental and angelic kingdom, and all life evolving on this planet will ascend through the Lion's Gate, making a sacred passage through the reception of the gate of a new dimension, receiving new frequencies of the heart-based courage and divine love of the heart of a lion. So I want to just take a moment, Lauren, to see if you have anything that you want to share. I know that's a lot of information, but each and every one of you already know this. These are things you've all participated in, that you're well aware of, whether you're consciously aware of it just through your I am presence or on a more conscious, tangible level. And now you've been preparing for lifetimes to accomplish this in service to humanity and the light. And you are ready. You have everything you need within you now to victoriously accomplish this facet of the divine plan.
Hallelujah. Victory is
Hallelujah.
ours.
Victory is ours.
This is why we love you so much, Patricia. You always, always keep our eye on the prize as things get magnified. And I know I'm not the only one who was moved to tears there a couple of times. How truly beautiful. And it's so wonderful to hear from our community that has been experiencing what you spoke of today. Seeing this inner light within, like the spiked, sparkly 12 rays that are all in together. That's really amazing. And for those who are really feeling like the old is done, we can't be rid of it soon enough. So thank you, everyone, for this critical mass. Isn't that beautiful?
It is just monumental. It is monumental. And this is something that we have been working toward literally since the fall of humanity when we fell. We're far behind what we were supposed to be because we got caught up with our fragmented ego and lost the awareness of our I am presence and our solar Christ presence and our Christ presence. And we just started thinking that our physical body is all we are and the earth is all that exists. So we lost our way and now we're reclaiming it victoriously. And every man, woman, and child is going to experience an integration of their I am presence. And the I am presence of each one is going to do this absolutely, but gently and lovingly in a way that they can assimilate and relate to. And from now on, whether they are consciously aware, but we still have the free will to act out of those old patterns, but they will be able to hear the inner voice of their I am presence instead of being some still small voice in the distance because it's at such a high, so much higher vibration that it's far away from where we are. We are now fully into the initial impulse of the fifth dimension.
Oh my gosh, I can hear everyone just so happy with that. All right. See, that wants to, I just am so joyful for that because you have been working for decades and so many have been. Thank you. Wow. Okay, we are ascending and the old is left behind. All right, beautiful, everyone. So let's do this beautiful activation and invocation.
We'll do this as a guided meditation. So just go within the divinity of your heart flame, close your eyes, and listen to the words of this invocation. And know that you and the I am presence of every person on earth is participating in it, many consciously and many through their higher level of consciousness. Inhaling, exhaling, and we begin. I am my I am presence, and I am one with the I am presence of every person on earth. Through the power of my spoken word, I command God's unformed primal light substance from the core of creation to tangibly manifest my heart based invocations, decrees, and prayers here and now. In the name of the almighty presence of God, I am. And through the full power of the I am presence and the threefold flame pulsating in every heart, I speak directly to the divine intelligence within every electron of precious life energy existing in my earthly bodies and the earthly bodies of all humanity, the elemental kingdom, and Mother Earth. Blessed electrons, through the power of God, I am. I command that the white light of purity and the violet light of forgiveness and the violet and opal light of transfiguration, which were recently activated within the core of purity, pulsating within your beings, now expand continuously and permanently. I decree that this divine light cast into the violet flame all of the shadows that were cloaking these electrons as the vibratory rate of each electron quickens. I witness every cloak of darkness being instantaneously transmuted back into light. All shadows created by humanity's past misuse of our precious gift of life are being instantly purified, forgiven, and transfigured. Every rate of vibration, which is causing any form of limitation in my life or in the world, is being raised into the heart-based frequencies of the new earth. From this moment forth, through the grace of God and my I am presence, I am experiencing the blazing white light of purity and the violet light of God's infinite forgiveness and the violet and opal light of transfiguration perpetually expanding within the core of purity in every electron of precious life energy on earth. I accept and know that through the command of every person's I am presence, this purification is being God victoriously accomplished through all dimensions, all time frames, and all levels of consciousness in preparation for Earth's ascension now through the Lion's Gate on this sacred and holy day. And so it is, beloved, I am, beloved, I am, beloved, I am that I am. All is in readiness, and I am now ascending through the portal of the Lion's Gate. As I do, I am bringing the earth and all her life with me, and I am gently integrating into my I am presence. As this occurs within me, it occurs within every person belonging to or serving the earth at this time, whether he or she is in or out of embodiment. On the holy breath, I go within the divinity of my heart flame. I know now that I have successfully walked through the challenges of my earthly experiences into the glory of a new day, filled with the full gathered momentum of heaven on earth. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. The obsolete patterns of separation and duality from the old earth have been dismantled and are in the process of being transfigured back into light. This has cleared the way for our Father, Mother God to infuse the earth with brand new patterns of comprehensive divine love, which will reclaim this planet. This unfathomable frequency of divine love is creating the space for humanity's I am presence to now, this sacred and holy day, take full dimension of our earthly bodies. As I breathe in and out, deeply and rhythmically, the integration of my I am presence begins to gently occur within me at an atomic cellular level. Every electron, every atom, every subatomic particle and wave of my physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies, and all of the spaces in between the atoms and molecules of these bodies, joyously assimilates the multifaceted and multidimensional crystalline solar light of my I am presence. As this occurs, my thoughts, words, feelings, and actions begin to reflect the divine love, oneness, harmony, peace, and balance of God. This transfiguration is changing my physical reality into the love based perfection of the new earth. This is a unique gift, a sacred opportunity, and it is being presented to every man, woman, and child on earth right here and right now. I contemplate this truth, and as this sacred knowledge resonates within me, my heart flame begins to expand and expand. Instantaneously, I am lifted into the fifth dimensional frequencies of light in the realms of illumined truth. My feet are planted firmly on earth. Simultaneously, I am consciously aware of my Father, Mother, God, and the entire company of heaven, because we are one and there is no separation. I am a being of resplendent light, now realizing the fullness of that light on every level of my being. As I am lifted up, all life is lifted up with me. Therefore, I know that within my I am presence, I am now all of humanity, standing forth and realizing that we are sons and daughters of God. This means we are beloved and empowered God beings in every realm of consciousness, and that all our Father, Mother, God have is ours. With the integration of our I am presence, we are now able to liberate our Father, Mother, God's light in every physical and chemical interaction within our earthly bodies. This is healing and recalibrating all of the energy bonds within atoms and between atoms to the vibrational frequency of God's infinite physical perfection. This divine wisdom contains everything necessary to set straight the orbit, spin, and electronic charge of every cell, atom, and electron of life on Earth. All energy bonds within the atomic realm are now accelerating in vibration toward the frequency of infinite physical perfection. Every cell of life is now receiving and assimilating the sacred knowledge encoded within our I am presence and the newly activated 12 fifth dimensional crystalline solar strands of DNA within every person. Every person's I am presence is now liberating the sacred knowledge within our fifth dimensional DNA into every interaction within humanity and all of the energy bonds therein. These interactions include the relationships of all people, all organizations, all races, all religions, and all nations. All of these interactions are now being liberated into the harmony of a higher order of being, greatly expanding the influence of humanity's I am presence on Earth. Now, through my fifth dimensional DNA, I am receiving clearly the divine promptings, ideas, and concepts of my I am presence. I know now that I am a living, light-filled temple of invincible perfection, expressing my true state of enlightened consciousness, as well as vibrant health, infinite abundance, eternal youth, divine love, truth, and abounding joy. I am my I am presence, now tangibly manifesting on earth with every breath I take. I now gently return my consciousness to the room, and I become aware of my earthly bodies as I breathe in and out, slowly and deeply. I allow the divine energies of my I am presence to be assimilated at a cellular level within my physical, etheric, mental, and emotional bodies. As this occurs, I revel in the bliss of this moment on earth, and I am grateful. I am grateful. I am eternally grateful. Beloved Father, Mother, God, all that is, I am, and so it is. Just for a moment within the divinity of your heart flame, experience the new, radiant, multi-dimensional lion's gate that has opened to receive Mother Earth and all her life. Every person expressing an integrated I am presence, now able to function through the heart-based patterns of pure divine love that will manifest during this newly birthed new decade tangibly in the lives of all humanity, the elemental kingdom, and Mother Earth. And breathe deeply and return your attention to the room. Inhaling, exhaling, and when you're ready, you may open your eyes.
A sacred opportunity for this beautiful new decade. Wow, we are feeling that incredible light within ourselves, so radiant and bright and sparkly. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, all of you, for all of the light you've added to the world for probably thousands of lifetimes to bring us to this cosmic moment. This has been God victoriously accomplished through all the realms of cause and the higher realms of light, and will begin tangibly manifesting through the heart flames now within the lives of awakened humanity. And as in more and more people hear through this time out the sacred voice of their I am presence, their outer world behavior patterns will begin to dramatically shift as well. I just want to mention that we are moving toward another facet of this huge shift, which is referred to by the beings of light as the planetary reboot. So after assimilating all of this, we're going to be going into a whole new shift up the spiral of evolution. And this is involving the planetary timeout to prepare us for this reboot that will take place in October. And we'll be sharing, and you'll be sharing, I'm sure, Lauren, more information as this unfolds. It'll be presented through the 34th Annual World Congress on Illumination, a virtual online event that'll be free to everyone, open to the public. It will actually take place for a couple of hours every morning from October 17th through the 22nd. And step by step, these facets of the unfolding divine plan will be revealed to us, and the light will flow into Earth that will reboot this planet into the patterns of the new Earth.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Those World Congresses on Illumination, 34 sessions now. And this one is your first in a virtual. You've done live streams of it, but this is virtual. And this is you pivoting in this time, in this wonderful sacred opportunity. So thank you for that. We're looking forward to it. So, a planetary reboot. Is there anything more that you can add for this at this time?
Well, you know what we have to equate that with is what we do with our computer. When it crashes and everything falls apart, often we need to reboot it. And when we do, it moves into a whole new alignment, even a higher efficiency and a higher effectiveness. And that's probably the most tangible thing that we can realize. And that's exactly what's happening in the outer world as the old is being dismantled. With all that's going on in the United States of America, it's interesting that this shift is going to take place. And this doesn't mean just like it's going to shift from one moment to the next, but like with harmonic convergence. Incidentally, our first annual World Congress on Illumination was in 1987, the first harmonic convergence. So this is the 34th year that we have been doing that. And, there was so much information, and the next day everybody said on the, after the completion of the harmonic, oh, that was just a hoax, nothing happened. It was the most massive shift of consciousness we experienced on this planet that greatly accelerated our ascension process. And we've gone through several of those, moving us through this, including the birth of the new Earth in 2012. But this is like this. This is a quantum shift of vibration that will take place. And what the beings of light tell us to tell people that always are saying, well, I don't see any change, or I don't see any difference happening in the outer world, is that the physical plane of Earth is the least real of all of the dimensions that we abide in. And it is the very last dimension to reflect these changes. So for instance, today, this miraculous integration of the I Am presence was accomplished God victoriously through the realms of cause, through the entire fifth dimensional frequencies and vibrations of who we are, and is now going to be integrating at a cellular level. And we'll start witnessing tangibly the shifts of consciousness taking place in the outer world, just like what's happened in this short period of time of opening. I am very old, so I was very aware of the civil rights activities that were taking place in the 60s and the anti-war. They were simultaneously going on. The anti-war involved all the college kids and lots of people because there was a draft at the time, and a lot of young men were being sent there. But the civil rights was predominantly African American people, and there were people participating, and some would come down from the north into the south, and some of them got, murdered, unfortunately, with the Ku Klux Klan trying to help. But this time, if you noticed the Black Lives Matter marches, because of the opened hearts and the things that have taken place, and I'm not talking about any of the looting or violence, that has nothing to do, that's just the lower shattered ego trying to discredit what's really going on, trying to create imbalance of what's really going on. but it is softening hearts, just like becoming aware of how much all of the people, even the minorities, are forced to work to sustain us because they don't have the ability to work at home and their jobs they have to be physically present. It shifted people's consciousness in monumental ways. So when this came up, people of all races, all genders, all nationalities, all cultures were marching in the streets. And it isn't over. This shift into oneness is going to continue. And there are going to be those that try to dig in their heels and create separation and challenges. But anything that we're participating in that's involving us versus them, or they're evil and we're not, is misinformation, conspiracy theories, negativity. They are us. Everybody is interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent. So, what we have to do now is hold them in our hearts, love them free until they awaken. And now, with their I am presence tangibly beginning to integrate through them, they're going to experience that awakening much more tangibly in a very, very rapid way.
That answers a question that came in, like, will some who don't have that Christ consciousness, that oneness awareness, will they leave the planet? What you're saying is that everyone has this opportunity now to express it.
Yes. And the thing is, this is a very complex thing, just like there's this place of honor in the amphitheater around the earth today for the people that have left the earth through the COVID because they have provided a service to assist in awakening. Now, I'm not saying that the beings of light created the virus and that's old energy. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is what's occurring as a result of this and how hearts are opening and how things are shifting. So people will be leaving the physical plane for myriad reasons at this time. Some of them are powerful light beings that have just completed their facet of the divine plan. They're moving on to assist us from the heavenly realms because there are so many people in the physical plane awakening to take over their work. And that's happening a lot in the outer world.
That is so beautiful. Again, we are uplifted by this message today. I know we're really feeling buzzy and just light as a feather and so connected to this I am presence. Thank you so much, Patricia Diane. Your tireless work is a beacon to so many. And for decades, you have held this pure message that is truly uplifting. And we just extend a huge heart hug right back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lauren. And I certainly expand that to you and to everybody on the call, everybody tuning in, everybody on the planet. We are all blessed beyond our knowing for the privilege and honor of being able to participate in this incredible ascension of planet Earth.
Happy ascending, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our hearts are one, and we are feeling this oneness. Patricia Diane of eraofpeace.org. Your book, I Am Co-Creating New Earth, is full of invocations that really assist all of us. And those have been such I want to say, a light post for us as we navigate this time, because again, it keeps the eye on the prize. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.